Hi, Julia Barzyk here from Wise Investigator. So today I want to talk about pitch decks, and this is in the context of framing your research questions effectively. So before I get into talking about those pitch decks, let me just say that I have been communicating and will continue to communicate that being able to frame your research questions effectively is more important than ever in your success as a research scientist. If you want to get funding and now and even more into the future, this will be a required skill. So while people who have been able to do this well have always had an advantage in their careers, and their careers have really accelerated and excelled based on their ability to frame the research questions effectively, meaning in a compelling and clear way. However, in my opinion, this is no longer just going to be an advantage. I believe it will be absolutely required in 2023 and beyond. So going back to the pitch deck. So the pitch deck is something that developed out of the tech and startup community as a way to quickly present an idea, business idea. So for a startup to get venture capital funding, right? So they would go to these events and make their pitches using these slide decks and try to get funding, investors interested based on that, and further conversations that would come out of that initial pitch. So what can we learn about these and in terms of how they could be used for more of a traditional research funding process? Well, this is something that I've worked with my clients on developing because I saw that a lot of potential here in terms of using one of the different kinds of frameworks for these pitch decks. And it's not gonna, the research that you want to do and the way we frame research questions in the scientific community is not going to match up, fully with the format of some of these pitch decks, but there's flexibility there and there's definitely concepts and approaches that we can take from them. So this is something that I've been advocating for and working with my clients on developing these. And I will say that in the clients that I've worked with, when I've gone through the exercise with them of developing these, 6 or 7 slides, which is the basic framework of one of these pitch decks, that I have been able, even over time, to retain the information in terms of what they want to do much better than the information that I retain when working with them on other products. And keep in mind that when you are presenting your ideas to a funder or someone else, you may have a kind of one-on-one meeting and get really into the depths of the research question you want to pursue. But will that person really be able to remember the big takeaways from what you talked about, a month or 2 months later? Probably not. And it doesn't mean that it's because they don't have an interest or care about that research question, but it's just an information overload type thing. And the pitch deck puts these ideas into a framework that is very easy to remember and relate to. So that is very, very important. And I've been excited about this idea for a little while. And I was very pleased to see on March 10th of this year, there was an article, a piece in the Chronicle of Higher Education written by Rachel Torr, and I will link to that. It may be behind a paywall for some of you, but some of you maybe haven't read enough articles this month or whatever, you could view it. And she entitled that, "Can the Pitch Deck Help Academics?" And I say absolutely yes. So take a look at that if you can and read about pitch decks and think about how you could use this framework for presenting your research, especially if you're talking to a more general audience or if you want to capture someone's attention and interest very quickly.